probably in the country. If I can take a few minutes and expound on that. If you think about our association, you're here tonight. You want to learn, you want to grow, you want to get better. Our association is sponsoring this. Last week, if you're here, our association invited us all out to go have drinks together. We have our tournament, our clinics, right? 500 people to the clinics between the two locations. What does it cost us? So our association is investing in us. We have the youth training, something new we're endeavoring, right? That's the association investing in up-and-coming officials. The equipment sale. Okay, it's a chance for the younger guys to get good quality equipment to help defray the cost of getting into what we're doing. We have the swamps. Trout Park has its umpire room, right? All for us to be part of the association that wants to get better, grow with you, help you get to be where you want to be. Now, I've been here 12 years, but prior to that, I've been in California, I've been in Tennessee, I've been in Canada. To me, going back to what makes this association great is as a transfer coming in. Anybody else been a transfer coming in from other associations? And the biggest thing transferring in is all you care about is being given the opportunity to show what you can do. That's all I asked for coming in 12 years ago. Coming from Nashville, I knew I was coming to Chicago. We have bumps. Oops, can I say that on video? We have Fox Valley Blues. I contacted umps. First week of the season, I got a game. I got my chance. I nailed it, according to the guy I was with. I didn't hear a thing from umps. Well, Fox Valley. I'm working for 3 weeks. Immediately. It took me about a month to get my varsity game. Now, I don't know if it's because Jeff doesn't like the Canucks, or it's because I kept asking for a varsity game, putting in. Who does he send me with? Wags. Now, those of you that know Wags, yeah, you know Wags, he can be a stickler, pain in the neck, but he has a desire for the best, okay? So we do our game, and then we're sitting at the bar having our Kool-Aid, and he goes through his list. He had 2 things. One of them I agreed with. The other one I said, and it's what I would call local customs, is he said, your strike zone, your strike call should be consistent. And I said, that's local customs, because coming from Nashville, where I was, they wanted you to let everybody in the park know that if you had a close call third strike, everybody knows it. There's no doubt in your mind. And all he said to me was, Darrell, I understand that. That was my experience with Dave Wags. Awesome. Next time out, Jay Lyons. You know Jay Lyons? If you don't know Jay Lyons, his comment to me after the game was, you're very methodical, and that's a good thing. Since then, I've been nothing but pleased with what I've been given as far as games from Jeff and Jim. And then now, with the UIC responsibility, I'm very pleased. But as transfers coming in, new officials. If you go to the website, how many games do we have listed? 800 games plus, 800 games that need to be filled. You're going to work. November, I go to a basketball clinic. And one of the assigners comes in and he says, yeah, I'm an assigner, I assign these games, yada, yada, yada. And what got me was, he said, I've already filled 98% of my schedule. So if you're a new official in basketball in this that association, how are you going to get games? You're not. 98% is filled. Well, we may have 98% filled, but we still have 900 open. You're going to work. And that's all you can do, and all you can ask for coming in is the opportunity to do games. Young guys, new officials, you're going to work. No question. So it's up to you. And that's the association we belong to. Jeff doesn't use the arbiter. I think it's intentional. He wants to make sure that if you're a new official and it's a two-man game, you're going to get somebody who knows what they're going to do. That's part of the brotherhood as I see it. Jeff wants you to succeed. Now, part of the association is evaluations. $20 for an evaluation. Second one's free. If you're looking to move up, you want to know what you're doing well, what you're not doing well, our website lists who the evaluators are. So I'm saying, know the association, but know the players in the association. Because if Alan tells you to do something, and your desire is to move up rapidly, which you can, you better do it. If somebody who's an evaluator tells you to do something, you probably want to do it if you want to move up. If you're doing game day games and your UIC suggests you do something, you probably want to do it because Jim will get the feedback. Jim gets the feedback, Jeff gets the feedback, and so the story goes. So know the players, because these guys that are listed as the assigners, they want to see you get better. I mean, heck, $20, why should Alan give up, sorry, the money. Why should Alan give up a game at 60 to come and watch you for 20? Because he's committed to see you guys grow. Okay, the second one, free. So now your association is paying one of these guys to come and evaluate you. That's the association we are. That's just, yeah, the association you guys belong to. So that covers our association. Know yourself. Why are you here? Why are we umpiring games? What's your motivation? Okay. Some of us, young guys in the back, summer jobs. Okay, that's your motivation. Umpire baseball games, flip burgers at McDonald's. Welcome to the brotherhood. Okay, you've got a great teacher up here, right? He's going to work with you as long as he remembers his shin pads. That's part of the brotherhood. We get to tell stories about each other. And if you want to know about it, Tim will tell you. And if he doesn't, come up to Crystal Lake when I'm UICing some weekend, and I'll tell you about it. And I'll exaggerate. But that's your motivation. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us are motivated to get the big games. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us are motivated for the extra money. Nothing wrong with that. Know your motivation. Some of us are motivated to get away from the wife. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us are motivated to get out of the house, away from the wife, and she's motivated to get you out of the house because you bring all the money for her. There's nothing wrong with that. But know your motivation for the game. Okay? And then be the best that you can be. Okay. Also know yourself. What do you want to do? Okay, it's summer job, gentlemen. You want to do as many games as you can, right? Some of us have extra bills. We want to do as many games as we can. That's the motivation. Some of us want to just do the best of the best games. That's your motivation. Nothing wrong with that. But as you know your motivation, that helps you to decide. Okay, motivation for me. Told you I'm a big basketball fan. My motivation is no longer the big games. I've seen what I consider highlights of my life already on the basketball court. In Canada, how many can say, you know, if you're doing a basketball game, how many can say that they've tossed it between an Olympian and an NBA player at the same time? Well, that's my glory. I'm going to dwell on that. Doing basketball in California. Some of the top teams in high school teams in the country are out of California. The Major D's, Laguna Niguels. I've done those. I've had my day in the sun. So I'm not motivated by the big games. I'm motivated to go out there and do a good job. And more, I'm finding I'm motivated to do two-man games. Varsity games, I'm not motivated to do them. But if I'm motivated to do two-man games, I've got two choices, right? Go to the Canelands, the Calves, or do varsity games. But my motivation is not to get a full varsity schedule. My motivation is to do two-man games. What's your motivation?
We need something.
Okay.
Come see. Okay.
Phil, 2 weeks ago, said he was motivated to what? Get the Division II World Series. That's his motivation. Okay? Some of your motivation may just be to get through the first year. Nothing wrong with that. But as you know your motivation, that helps you drive what you're going to do. Does that make sense? Okay, know your limitations. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I cannot do 5 games in a day. I'm not even going to try. But we all have our limitations. We have work limitations. We have family limitations. We may have transportation limitations. We may have attitude limitations, right? There's some guys, I don't want to do that because that's terrible ball. Well, now you're limiting yourself. Again, for me, I'm a big boy. And last week, Chris stated that it's his goal to try and beat the runner-up to first. Right? You remember him saying that? Good luck. I'm not going to do it. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to beat a runner-up to first. Heck, I'm going to be lucky to get out of the dirt in front of the plate. But that's my physical limitation. And as you know your physical limitations, you're going to adjust your game accordingly. Your plate stance. Okay? My physical limitation, I need to do the scissors. But that's knowing me. And that's why I bring this up is everybody knows what their limitations are. And you're going to adjust your game to those limitations. And just be aware of them. Is that all making sense so far? Okay. Your personality. What type of personality do you have? If you know your personality, that's going to affect the way you umpire. I've learned enough from basketball, and I've been told by enough, and I see it myself, that I'm very confrontational. You all guys know me, and you know that I'm not. But my stature, my size, I come across as being confrontational. I know that. So now I've adjusted myself and the way I umpire to make that a non-factor. Okay? I hear the chirping from the third base dugout. I'm on the third base line. I walk over to the first base line. They still want to chirp? They want to come in and talk to me? I've not taken that first step toward the dugout, which is me challenging them. They come to me. They still want to chirp. They still want to walk. I see them coming over the corner of my eye. I go up by the first base bag. That's because I'm avoiding that confrontation because I know the way I look, the intensity, invites that as a confrontational club. Now, by the time the coach comes up to see me at first, if there's any disagreement, everybody's seen him follow me from the third base dugout to the first base line. And if I toss him, everybody's seen that. And I've avoided the confrontational look. Okay, me, I've got the confrontational look. You get in some of those small fields, you use a finger. You can see the intensity in my eyes. And if a coach is standing there at the fence and I use the point and he sees me looking at him, you can see that intensity. So I realize that's part of me. I go to hammer. I avoid that confrontation. Now, some may be better at managing it. Those that don't have the big stature, don't have the glare, they get away with meeting the coach part way. But if you know your personality, then that's going to affect how you umpire in a positive way. Is that all making sense? Okay. Going fast. Okay. You know, you never know. Okay, and this is sort of a catch-all. We use a comment, don't fuck it up. Oops. That's sort of an oxymoron because it's by screwing up you learn. You know, we want everybody to go out and have that perfect game. But if you have that perfect game, are you growing? You know, chances are you may be the only one, you and your partner probably will be the only one that knows that you've screwed it up. But that's how you grow. Now, if you keep screwing it up, the same thing over and over again, then that should raise questions in your mind. Why am I not learning for the first time? Okay, does that make sense? So don't screw it up. But if you do screw it up, learn from it. So you don't screw it up the second time, third time. Because I can tell you, I can remember the first play I screwed up in basketball 35 years ago, like it was yesterday. I can remember screwing up a call with Allen 9 years ago. Something like that. Those things stick in your mind. All the good plays, all the ones that you nail, you don't remember. But you remember those that you screw up. And I'll say this, because I think we'll have time. You'll even remember when you think you did right and others think you screwed up. And Alan, if you can find that video, we'll have time for it.
It wasn't on YouTube. I don't think.
No, it was on our website.
It was on the Facebook at one point. Right?
FVB. You never know. I'm doing a freshman game. And it's just visiting teams getting the butt kicked. We want to get to the end of the slaughter, okay? The home team's bunting. Everybody, that's all they're doing. I'm going to bunt, throw me out at first. That's what it's gotten to. I know what's happening. The coach is doing that with everybody. Well, now the visiting coach, he's getting all pissed off. Well, that's not how he's into me because that's not how you play. This team's getting his butt kicked. Then he accuses the other team of stealing his signs. And then he's on me for some other thing. Okay? You get the idea. He's just being a royal pain in the neck to me. I'm having Thanksgiving dinner with my sister-in-law. She's part of the decision-making at this high school. I tell her, yeah, this guy, he was a real jerk to me. he did this and this and this and this and this. Her response was, thank you. He's applied for the head varsity coach and he's not going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's watching. True story. I won't say the name of the school, but you never know who's watching. Another one. You never know who's watching. I've got a travel game in Barrington. I'm there early. There's a high school game going on. And I go over to take a gander, see who's there. The two umpires on that field are allowing the home team to run wild on their sidelines. Kids are out of the dugout. They're sitting on buckets. Kids are out of the dugout, sitting on chairs. Kids are out of the dugout, fooling around in the bullpen. I'm watching this. Now, good thing it was me, and good thing it wasn't one of our younger officials, our new officials, because they're going to say, aren't they all supposed to be in the dugout? Well, if our senior officials are allowing that to happen, what message are you sending to those that may be watching? Now, I saw today that that's a point of emphasis in our training. Did anybody see that? And they want us to put them in the dugout, right? Be very. And it was after watching that game that I made it very clear that for those game day games, get them in the dugout. Because if you as a younger official reading the rule and you're saying, it says you can't be out of the dugout except for, and they come and they see us allowing them out of the dugout, that just messes them up.
What did you do that day? Anything?
No. I lost a lot of respect for one of the officials. I can tell you that. Okay. Another thing. Our one member from FVB Buffalo, Mike. Okay. He made a comment on Facebook a few days ago, and basically was telling a younger official to get one or two mentors and be ready to say you did it wrong. That's a wonderful piece of advice, because I've experienced you're having your Kool-Aid, your group of umpires together, and then one guy will say, well, what would you do with this? And this is, younger guys, they want to grow. They have a desire to do things the right way. But they'll ask, well, Darrell, what would you do with this? And then they'll go to Ted, what would you do with this? And they're like a sponge, they're taking it all in. Now, as we saw in this little test, we all see things just a little differently. None of it's wrong. It's all a matter of interpretation. But sometimes I think that some of our younger guys are like a sponge and soaking it all in, and I'll say something well-meaning, Ted will say something that's well-meaning, Tim will say something that's well-meaning, but when you put all of it together in that sponge, it becomes toxic. Because here it is, this young guy trying to make heads or tails of the call, and I'm saying one thing, Ted's saying something just a little different. This is how he would handle it. This is how I would handle it. This is how Alan would handle it. But I've already told you I'm going to handle things differently because of my stature, because of my physical limitations, because of my personality. But if you don't know your personality yet, you don't know which one's best for you. And I've seen it on a few people that it's probably messed them up because they're trying to figure out what's best. Well, you get 3, 4 different answers that are close to being the same, but just a little differently. And you can see how it would mess somebody up. So if you're new, younger, get 1 or 2 mentors. Listen to them. Go to them. Now, we've talked about what's your goal. Well, if your goal is to get to the NCAAs, a good mentor would be somebody who's been there. If you're just starting out, a good mentor may be somebody who does a lot of games, who's been around for a while. A good mentor may be a parent, good friend, somebody that gets you in. Tim, you're going to be a mentor to quite a few, right? Listen to that person. Sort of take with anybody else, take a grain of salt, because they don't know your background. They don't know your desire. They don't know your motivation. Basketball, I want to do some kids' games. The assigner, he's doing a little floor test. And he's saying, well, and he's a downstate official, okay? He knows the stuff, but this is a kid's game. He says, make sure your finger gets typed in when you're pointing. Okay, you may need to do that to go downstate. All I want to do is do 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade kids. Am I doing what am I supposed to be doing? For those of you that know basketball, you stop the clock. While you're stopping the clock, you're pointing the direction you're going, and then where the ball's going to be thrown in. Am I doing that? Well, what's my desire? What am I trying to do? If I'm trying to go downstate, then I'm going to be picking this guy's brain, and I'm going to be doing everything that he tells me to do. If that's my motivation, that's my ambition. But if my ambition is just to do 3rd or 4th grade games, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, am I getting the information to use my partner? That's the big thing. You know, are you getting your information to your partner? Does it matter if it's for your thumbs up? You're still giving the information. So as you think about what's your motivation? If your motivation is just to do freshman and sophomore games, get a mentor that can help you do your best at that. If you've got a staggered ambition, where you want to do freshman, sophomore, lots of travel to learn, find a mentor or 2 that's in that area. But avoid 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people, because that's just going to confuse you. Now, Alan mentioned the UICs at game day. Usually there's time to look at people. Lots of time to offer little hints. A great place to start learning little pickup things. Now, if I'm the UIC, I will not talk to you about stance, because I think I'm now the only one that uses the scissors. And if you ask me, I think the super slot is just a modification of the scissors, and if you turn slightly on the scissors, it's the same thing. But that's my opinion. But that's a good place to learn. Okay? If you want to do a varsity schedule, and if it sounds like a promotion for game day, maybe it is. What better place can you learn how to do 2-man than game day? Right? That's your chance. You've got somebody there that can take a look at you, that can help you with the 2-man. If you don't have any experience with 2-man, you have very little. That's a great place to learn. It's a great place to pick up little hints. You've got 1 or 2 guys that are URCs. You'll see me 8 times this summer, depending on where you go for game day. So there's nothing more satisfying than me telling Nick, try this, and he does it, and it looks good. And then you can build on 1 week after another, and I'm sure, Tim, you're going to do the same thing. Little thing here, little thing there. Work on this, work on this. Now, if you start talking to all kinds of people, they're going to say, well, you should be doing this. but you're not at the level to get that thumb in. You're still at the level where you're stop the clock. Why are you stopping the clock? The direction you're going and where the throwing is. You know, the other little stuff will come later. So choose your mentor. Be prepared to tell you. Be prepared. You know, Mike said, be prepared and accept that you did wrong. That's nothing more than getting feedback from those that want to see you grow. If you want to grow, you take the feedback. Last week, Alan said, if you're going to apply for a promotion, apply. Just because. Alan, how long did it take to get my email over to you?
About the next day.
Next day. So if you're being told to do something by those you trust, those mentors, work on it. And then everything else will start to fall in place. Okay. So that's part of you never know never. Somebody's watching you all the time. You don't know who it is. It may be, in my case, the umpire watching the coach. And for my sister-in-law to say, he's going to get the job, thanks. He's not a good representation of the school. Made all the crap he put me through that game worthwhile. And that's a reflection of my personality, that little sadistic side that you see every now and then. Know your field. I was going to quote him, but Phil said 2 weeks ago, it's the little things that make all the difference. Well, I'm doing a game day as a USC out in Rockford. The game day guy says, what's the umpire doing in the field? One of our umpires got there early. He knew which field he was on. And he walked around the outside fence. He was looking, you know, just checking for holes in the fence. It's the little things like that, because that guy that weekend made such an impression on game day that all I had to say was, yeah, the guy that checked the fence is on that field. That was all the game day guy had to hear. So know your field. Just think, what would happen if you're in your pants, your jacket, half an hour before your game, you and your partner walk the fence? Think about it. What's that doing to the coaches? The coaches are seeing you walk the fence, checking them. You can have your pretty game as you walk, right? Unless you're like me and you can't chew gum and walk at the same time. You can do that. Does it hurt anything? Does it make an impression? Made an impression on this guy that weekend. I'll say his name. Johnny Harris was God. All I had to say was the guy that checked his field. He had his coffee in his hand. Even if he wasn't checking the field, he made an impression. He was out checking. He was on the field well before the game. You know, you have the coaches say, what are the ground rules? Take us through. Well, what better impression do you have when you go to the plate meeting and say, hey, coach, take us around, because I know we saw a few gaps in the, did we miss it? It's the little things like that that's going to make an impression. And if you've already walked the field, as long as you look presentable, I'm not saying walk in your jeans, who the hell is this guy on the field? But if you've got your pants on, your jacket on, before you go change, walk the field. What impression is that going to convey? Then again, your plate meeting takes a different turn. Coach, walk us through, because we've noticed, I've noticed, there's a few holes. How are we going to play? Big difference. What does it take? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? You're there anyway. This could get me in trouble, if I can say it anyway. Know what's going on outside the field. You've got your fences. You're responsible for what's inside the fence. But also know what's going on outside the fence. I'm not saying by any means you're responsible what's outside the fence, but be aware. Again, experience, game day. One of the teams is drinking. Okay, the umpires can't see it, but they can hear the chatter start between the benches. There's a close play. Could the guy cut the toss because he spiked the guy? I thought so. That increased the chatter. Well, the two on the field were of the point, hey, I'm just worried about what's on the field. Well, if you've got this chatter going on, game day, you get the game day people, you get your UIC involved. Just say, hey, Darrell, there's a lot of chatter over here. Thank you, we'll take care of it. You've done your job. High school game, you've got those. Parents are getting all upset. You're the only one on the field. Hey, coach, I noticed these fans are getting kind of obnoxious. Do you need a few minutes to go take care of it? I'll be happy to go talk to your pitcher. You know, I'll make a reason to give you time to go and talk to the parents. But if you're not aware of what's happening outside the fence, you can't offer the courtesy to allow the coach to address it. Now, does that make sense? Because I know there's guys that are going to say, hey, I'll take care of what's inside the field, but outside the fence, the game management, that was one time in game day, I stood in between two guys who wanted to fight. And all because the chatter, they let it go. So, sorry to say about that. Know your field. Know what's going on outside and inside. Know who you need to talk to if there's stuff getting out of line on the outside. Okay? That's what I have to say. That's what I thought, been thinking about it for the last 2 years, because I've seen this. You know your personality. Know how you're going to call the game. Know the rules. Nothing more embarrassing than I'm a UIC and another UIC comes up and says, these are the rules, right? Seriously? You're a UIC and you're double checking me for the rules for game days? You know the rules. On knowing the rules, I'll say this. Most of the leagues that we do have their rules on their websites. If you really want to be prepared, again, what's it take to look, we have it all on our phones. Pull up the team that you're visiting, look to see if the rules. Then your pregame again changes. Now, I understand that basically we're playing high school rules with the safety that the guy can't turn and slash the bunt, pull it back, and then swing away. Is that right? Well, now you've demonstrated, that's one of those little things that you've demonstrated that you've done your homework to say, at least I've looked into it. Am I reading your rules right? And that opens it up for the coach to say, you're absolutely right. Or my line is, I do a lot of different levels. Can you help me understand your local rules here? What do I need to call? And again, it's your approach. If you've done your homework and looked up the rules and said, hey, is this right? Basketball game, Tuesday night. You have to stay behind the 3-point line before you press, before you play defense. No, we changed that. It can only be, but again, you're saying, I've done my homework, I've read your rules, I'm just verifying, and they changed it. But it's a whole lot better than going in and saying, what are the rules on pressing? Subtle differences. Okay? That's all I have to say. Any questions? Any comments?
Perception. It's always in the eye of the person that's watching you, whether you're doing a good job or not. You may have thought you got the call perfect, but that other person that's watching from 60 feet away thinks you blew the call. It's the perception on how you sell that as to whether or not they're going to accept what you did, and if they're going to call you out on it. I play hockey, I'm a goalie, I reach like this with two people in front of me, and I catch the puck that the guy at the blue line had shot. I'm looking over here, I stick my arm out and I catch it, people think, oh, that was a great save. That wasn't a great save. I saw it all the way. Just because two people were over here, I could see what I hit. But people would report to me from my team, that was great. Oh, you did that. I don't know how you saw it. Because you were in the right position. You have to position yourself also so that you can make the call or make the save or do something. It's all perception as to what they think of you when you first walk on the field. If you don't walk out onto the field properly, they're going to start thinking you don't care about this game. To a freshman team, freshman coach, they want the same person that's coming out for a varsity game because they know they're getting great umpires for varsity. What are we getting for freshmen? The people that are just starting. Sell yourself. That's what I try to tell people that are new is you've got to give them that idea that you know the game, you know what you're doing, quote the rule book a little bit so that they think that you've read the whole rule book. But you should be reading the whole book. That's my
Exactly. And perception.
yeah.
That's why we spend so much
Batter
time.
runner.
Yep. That's why we spend so much time shining your shoes before the game, only to step on the field and they're dirty within 5 steps on the field. Okay, but you spend the time because it's a look. They were you can fool them at the beginning. Okay, if you meet somebody new, eventually they're gonna figure you out. But at least fool them at the beginning. They think that you're serious about the game. Your uniform's kept. Your pants are the right length. When you go down to your stance, they're not halfway up your shin guards. You wash your hat. They're not hand marks and finger marks over your hat. You have it creased. You don't have it flat out. That's the players do that. It's not what the umpire does. And your equipment's clean. You're not, you don't set your mask behind you on the ground during the plate conference. There's all these little things that Tim did when he was a rookie. And okay, there's all these little things that you can do that make a difference.
I had the clip.
Yep. So exactly right. It's perception. Okay, you can fool them for a while. You can not know all the rules. Jim Ellison worked the state finals 3 times. He still didn't know half the rules. Okay, but he could sell himself. Benji knows. He had it in his games. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Okay, but he was confident enough in himself and had the personality and presented himself in the right way where he could get away with that. Okay, I always tell the story. Bert Person, if you ever met him, he has the biggest strike zone in the world. Okay, he calls pitches a strike, and you can't believe it. You're shaking your head, and nobody says anything. Okay, because he's confident in what he does. Okay, if you call a strike and that bad, pitch, 6 inches off the plate, and you sell it like hell, and it looks like the catcher made it look halfway decent, you can call it a strike. But if they beat that ball into the dirt, into the ground, and you give a half-ass strike single, they're not gonna believe you. Okay, perception really goes into balls and strikes too. Okay? It's all about how the catcher catches it. They can't see from the dugout. They can't see in or out. Okay, they can see up and down. And they can see how the catcher catches the ball. So if the catcher does a good job on a borderline pitch, it's a strike, and everybody's gonna believe you. But if you call a curveball that is in the catcher's glove, ends up in the dirt, it may touch the strike zone, but you call it a strike, nobody's gonna believe you. Okay. The perception is a big thing in the games. We don't have instant replay. So, close plays at bases and close tags, like you can get away with the old school, he's out, because nobody's going to believe you if you call him safe. You might be right, but nobody's going to believe you're right. So is it worth being right or worth not getting chewed out all the time? So I'm glad you brought that up because perception is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's how you carry yourself. Have false confidence at the beginning. Have that, out there and look confident, even if you're not. It makes a big difference. That's why you do your mechanics right, and you look like an umpire. It makes a big difference.
A big part of that is punctuality too. The
Yep.
problem in basketball this winter across other conferences that guys are just late all the time.
Yep. It's contact. You get there an hour before. Every game I go to, I shoot for an hour before, no matter what level it is, where we're going. Give me a kid game day. I'm going to be there an hour before because I could get caught in traffic. Okay, even though there's not much traffic in Belvedere. Okay, there's times when things happen. Okay, Okay, I went to a game at Guilford High School last year. I pulled up to the game, went to go in the back to check, grab my uniform. It's not in there. Okay, I came to the game with no uniforms, so I had time to go home and come back and still get to the game on time. Okay, because I got there an hour before the game. Okay, Belvedere, I did that same thing at Belvedere North. Luckily, I can see the school from my house, so I was able to go back. But that's when things go wrong, you have time to fix it. Okay, if you get there 15 minutes before the game and then you don't have your uniform, you're screwed. Okay, you're going to forget something. It happens. You take it out to wash it, and then you never gets back in your bag. Okay, so uniform is important to keep clean. Your base pants, you probably can get a couple games in without getting them dirty. Plate pants, I wash them every game. Don't press them because they're permanent press. Everybody says, "Oh, press your pants." Don't press your pants. They're permanent pressed. You don't need to. Don't dry clean your umpire pants. I don't know why people do that. Just wash them, hang them up and dry. Like, I don't get that. I mean, that's my own personal thing. You always say, "Oh, clean and press." No, I've never pressed a pair of pants. Okay. They're fine. So if you wash them, hang them up to dry. Don't go out and spend a fortune on dry cleaning those every year. But make sure it's presentable and know when to recycle them. Okay, don't keep a jacket that's fading in the sun and keep wearing it, or a shirt you hang in the back of your car the whole season and it gets faded. Put it away. I get home from my game and I hang it up in my garage, and then I grab it before I go to the game the next day. Or I put it in the car in the morning, or when I go home for lunch and bring it back. Okay? Or put it in a bag so it doesn't get faded. There's a lot of tricks that you'll learn as you're going through.
Sorry,
Okay?
I'm not sure what you said.
Crazy little strikes
How
again.
appropriate.
Okay? So, but again, this part about knowing, like, it fits right along with this is being ready to be in the game. This is going to lead into what I'm going to talk about next week. I'm actually the guest speaker next week. I haven't spoken to one of these, and probably I speak at most of them at the beginning, but I haven't actually been a speaker at one of these in a couple of years, so it's actually going to be me next week. I'm going to revive my "Don't Be That Guy" presentation. I'm going to make some adjustments to it, but you'll see some of these guys on there, and you'll think like, "Shit, I've seen that guy before." Okay, and we're gonna kind of point those things out and make sure that you don't actually be that guy anymore. So thanks to Darrell. This is his first time speaking in front of an umpire group. So next week, same time. If you haven't signed up for the Wheaton Clinic, please do so as soon as you can, so we get numbers to Wheaton for lunch. If you saw my email today.